Welcome back. This is John from Lockedown SEO, and today I'm answering a question from Reddit. And the question goes, we are an HVAC contractor, and what we're doing on our Google My Business, our Google Business profile that shows up in Google Maps, is we're changing the primary category during each season to try and make it rank higher in maps. So for instance, during the cold season, we're making our primary category furnace repair or heating contractor, and then during the cold months we make our primary air conditioning contractor, but we seem to have dropped off in maps. Why is this happening? I don't recommend that you change your main business category on Google Maps, Google Business Profile. Google sees all the different ones that you have. It sees like the main one, it sees like your supporting ones, your second and third choices. It can put that up there if it chooses to, but I wouldn't go messing with them, and I doubt that that's the reason why it's not ranking. I would say that probably there's another issue, possibly like some of the other sites out there just are, Google feels more confident in them. If you're searching like the city and then heating contractor or heating repair or furnace repair, those sites might have something better going on, and that could be with the Google My Business profile itself, plus the different third-party profiles like Yelp and Home Advisor and yellowpages.com. It might have to do with the website itself, but I would keep that information the same. As far as like a business categories, just choose one, either HVAC contractor or air conditioning contractor. Google already knows that if you have like the other ones in there, say for example, if you have HVAC contractor, air conditioning contractor, heating contractor, you're going to be fine. It already sees all those ones in there. They pretty much all mean the same thing. But if you're focusing on things like that instead of improving your site or getting more positive reviews, and also I would say get positive reviews not only on Google, but on Yelp and Home Advisor and Porch and Angie's List and Houzz. If your home services like HVAC, those are the ones that I would really concentrate on. If you have time, you can go for stuff like Thumbtack, but those are the important ones that Google like really sees as like sites that we trust in HVAC. They're going to go for these. Now you might actually have other organizations within your local area that might do something with that as well. So what I would do, and you can check this as well, is Google all your competitors and look at their knowledge panel, and you'll see like a little section on there that says reviews from around the web, and you will see different places that come up in there. There's usually 2 or 3 different places that come up in there where they're getting reviews. So make a note of all the places where your competitors are getting reviews. If you're only getting Google reviews, and you're probably using Yelp, I mean if you're in the US you're probably using Yelp as well, but look at all the other ones too that are up there. Do you have at least like a handful of reviews on these other ones as well? So that's something to look at. I would also look at making sure that your Google My Business profile is completely filled out. All the sections are complete. If you go in the back, it'll tell you what the grade is. I don't think you have to connect WhatsApp. I mean, if you don't want to do that, I wouldn't do that. But do everything else. Make sure you have photos in all the different sections like logo, exterior, interior, team, all those things. Make sure those are all completely filled out. You have photos in all those. You have all the services filled out. You have the about filled out. Hours of operation are consistent across the web. They're consistent on Google My Business, Yelp, Better Business Bureau, Yellow Pages, and everywhere else that you might be listed. Another thing that you might do, look at the individual pages of your site that you're targeting for heating repair, furnace repair. I would recommend having an individual page for heating repair and then one for AC repair, and then also mention those on your home page. Now, sometimes Google will pick your home page because it is the page with the most authority, the most links, and if you have the right content on there, that could be one that it chooses, but it also might choose one of these other ones. But whatever one is ranking the highest, focus on that one and then compare against the other pages that your competitors are ranking with. Making your landing page on your website for that particular service and just improving your overall site I think would be a good thing. I think HVAC companies should have a blog too. I think that this is a very important thing. I think specifically for HVAC companies, you want to have a blog. There are some industries where you can get by with not having a blog at all, and you're going to be fine. HVAC is not one of those. HVAC is definitely one where you need to have a blog. I don't know how much that's going to improve your thing on Google Maps, because it also tends to pick from the center of the city or toward within the city limits. If you're on the outside of the city limits, or where your shop is located, or your map pin, then it's going to be more difficult. As I mentioned in another video, if you have your logo on the outside of your shop, take a photo of that, upload it to Google My Business under exterior. That's one thing you can do. Check and make sure that you have all your citations, which are all your like third-party sites beyond the ones that I mentioned, like Yelp and Porch and Home Advisor and stuff, all that. There's all these different other ones too. These used to be really important in local SEO and in the map. I don't think they're as important nowadays, but they're still pretty good to have. But you can run this through something like White Spark or Bright Local, and it'll give you an idea of what your competitors have versus you as far as those types of citations, what we call NAPW citations, which is name, address, phone, website. You just want to make sure that those are all consistent. And any other links that you can get from places that your competitors might have links. And one way to check that, what I do is I'll run it through Ahrefs or hrefs.com, and they have a thing called link gap, where you can basically put that in if you have a subscription. Your site versus like another site. Show me all the sites that link to competitor A versus me, and then export that. I would do one at a time when you do this too, like one competitor versus you, competitor A versus you, competitor B versus you, competitor C versus you, and then see all the like places that show up consistently where it's, oh, all these places have a link from this particular site, but I don't. So if you see a pattern there, those are definitely like places that you should get a link. Usually it's, filling out a profile. Sometimes they get news coverage, or somebody references it in their blog and they might link to it. But a lot of the time it's like third-party sites or lead generation sites. So evaluate what you need to do there. So if you do all those things, then it might help you on Google Maps. And sometimes it's just a matter of location, because where you're at, it's going to show you like the 3 closest ones to you, or the 3 closest ones to the city center, whichever it is. But Google will tend to like find some that cluster up like in the locations, and it'll say, okay, you just want the one that's closest. So Google Maps is a little bit like that sometimes. So keep that in mind. But if you're like way down there, if you're like not even in the top like 5 on Google Maps, then there's a problem. And obviously you got to look at all these different things. So don't change your business category over and over. Pick one, preferably something like air conditioning contractor or HVAC contractor, unless you live in an area that's really cold, unless you live in the Northeast or Minnesota or Canada. Then you could pick like heating contractor. If it's like heating contractor most of the year, then cool. But otherwise, air conditioning contractor or HVAC contractor is probably sufficient. And don't go messing with it during the cold and the hot seasons, because it's not going to make a difference. It's really not. All right, my name's John Locke for Lockdown SEO. I'm here about once a week making videos on SEO. If you have a question, leave it in the comments below. If you got value from this video, please give it a thumb up, and please subscribe to this channel, because there's going to be more content. All right, that's all I have for now. Until next time, peace.